Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a completely different approach to learning a language. Because let's be honest, staring at dry, boring grammar tables in a vacuum just doesn't work. Instead, we're going to learn essential Spanish vocabulary and grammar by actually immersing ourselves in a story. Trust me, it's the absolute best way to make these rules really stick. We're using a fantastic, grounded source text today, a contextual Spanish lesson built entirely around one specific family. So get ready to absorb pronouns, articles, and new vocabulary completely naturally.
So let's just jump right in. Our gateway to mastering Spanish grammar today is Laura's family. You see, when you anchor new words to actual faces and relationships, your brain retains that information significantly better. It's like a mental sticky note. By exploring their everyday lives, their jobs, and how they all relate to one another, we're going to unlock key Spanish grammatical concepts, like possessive pronouns and definite articles, without it feeling like a chore at all. We'll extract the grammar directly from their story.
Here's our game plan for today. 1. Meet Laura's family. 2. Essential Spanish vocabulary. 3. Spanish personal pronouns. 4. Exploring possessive pronouns. And 5. Definite articles and contractions.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Meet Laura's family, the parents and siblings. Let's start at the top of the family tree with Laura's parents, Maria and Mario. They are both 47 years old, but they have very different day-to-day professional lives. Maria is a doctor, or doctora in Spanish, and she works at the Carlos J. Finlay Hospital. Mario, on the flip side, is an industrial engineer, an ingeniero industrial, working in a tourism company. Keep these two in mind, because they really are the foundation of this whole family tree.
Moving down a branch, we have Laura's brothers, Roberto and Miguel. Now, both of these guys actually study informatics. Roberto is 21 years old, and he already has a son named Juan. Miguel is the younger brother, at 18, and he doesn't have any kids yet. The source text makes a specific point to tell us that both brothers are currently single, which in Spanish is solteros.
Finally, rounding out the siblings, let's meet Laura's sister Tanya. She's 22 years old and is currently studying law, Derecho, at the prestigious University of Havana. The text paints a great picture of Tanya, describing her as attractive, honest, and intelligent. And unlike her brothers, she's married. Her husband is Luis, and together they have an adorable 2-year-old daughter named Sara.
Moving right along to Section 2, Essential Spanish Vocabulary, Words from the Story.
Now we can pull out the specific vocabulary we just heard in the narrative. Look at how these pairs work together. We learned that Roberto and Miguel are solteros, single, while Tanya is casada, married. Notice how that A or O ending shifts depending on gender? That's super important. We also have hembra and varón to specify female and male. Remember Maria and Mario's jobs? Doctora and ingeniero. We've got our familial terms, hijos for children and padres for parents. We use inteligente and honesta to describe personality traits. The text also gives us some really useful filler words like también, meaning also, and descriptive words like mulatto or mulata to describe a person of mixed race. Seeing these exact words anchored to the specific people we literally just met makes them incredibly easy to recall.
Let's shift gears to Section 3, Spanish personal pronouns. Who is who?
Okay, so we know their names Mario, Maria, Tanya. But you can't just keep repeating names over and over in a conversation. How do we replace them with pronouns? In the singular column, we've got yo for I, tú or the more formal usted for you, and él or ella for he or she. Over in the plural side, we have nosotros for we, ustedes for you all, and ellos or ellas for they. Let's do a quick active recall check. If I want to talk about Mario and Maria together, which pronoun am I going to use? I use ellos, they. If I'm talking just about Tanya, I use ella, she. Honestly, understanding this little grid is the absolute skeleton key to Spanish verb conjugation.
Which brings us to Section 4, Exploring Possessive Pronouns, Showing Ownership.
Now that we know who the people are, we need to establish who belongs to whom, right? That is essential when you're mapping out a family tree. In Spanish, the possessive pronoun is a lot like a mirror. It has to perfectly match the noun it's modifying in terms of singular or plural. Me becomes miss if you have multiple things. Tu becomes tus. Su becomes sus. We also have nuestro or nuestra for our, which turns into nuestros or nuestras in the plural form. For example, in our story earlier, the text referred to Mario and Maria's sons as sus hijos varones. Because hijos is plural, that su absolutely must become sus. But if we're talking about Tanya's husband, well, she just has one husband, so it's simply su esposo. It's a really simple alignment rule, but man, it changes everything about how you speak the language.
And finally, Section 5, definite articles and contractions, the finer details. Let's look at the connective tissue that brings all these nouns and pronouns together. In English, we have it pretty easy. We just say the father, the mother, the parents. It literally never changes. But Spanish requires the article to match both gender and quantity. Singular is el for masculine, like el esposo, the husband, and la for feminine, like la hermana, the sister. When we jump over to plural, el becomes los, and la becomes las. Remember the opening of our story? It didn't just say padres, it said los padres de Laura. If it's a mixed gender group, like a mom and a dad together, the masculine plural los always takes precedence.
Now here is a fantastic little shortcut the Spanish language gives you. When you're writing or speaking and you have the preposition meaning to, right next to the masculine article el, they crash together to form a brand new contraction, al. The exact same thing happens with de, meaning of or from plus el. It becomes del. So instead of clunkily saying el padre de el niño, you seamlessly say el padre del niño. Just keep in mind, this only happens with the singular masculine el. It definitely does not happen with la, los, or las.
Take a second to just appreciate what we accomplished here. By simply learning the narrative of Laura's family, meeting her doctor mom, her engineer dad, her siblings studying law and informatics, we organically uncovered how Spanish pronouns work, how possessives agree with their nouns, and how definite articles and contractions string the whole shebang together. Context really is king. Master the story, and the rules naturally follow right behind it.
So I'm going to leave you with a bit of a challenge. Active learning doesn't just magically stop when this explainer ends. How would you describe your family in Spanish? I want you to take the vocabulary matrix we went over, words like soltero, casado, hijos, padres, and the grammar rules for those pronouns and articles, and mentally map out your own family right now. Are your parents los padres? Do you have an hermana? Apply these concepts immediately to your real life, and I promise you they will be yours forever. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and keep learning.